7 years ago, a much younger Richard stood at the back of a party, leaning quietly against a wall. It's so stuffy in here, he thought, adjusting his tie. My parents know I dislike events like this. He barely noticed the elegant melody played by the orchestra. Then he saw her, Jasmine, entering the ballroom with her parents. So this is it, he thought. They've chosen my future bride. A quiet sigh escaped him. She's probably around Leisha's age, he thought, visibly uncomfortable. I've stayed long enough, he concluded, ready to leave. But before he could move, Jasmine approached him. Lord Richard, she said softly, her gaze lowered, clearly nervous. Will you? She hesitated, fidgeting with her hands. She must be so young, Richard observed silently. Will you be my first dance partner? She asked, her cheeks tinged with pink. The daughter of Grand Duke Riovanni, Richard noted. It would be my honor, he replied gently. Your hand, please, he said, extending his arm. Oh, right, she said, carefully placing her hand in his. The music began again, and they started to dance. Jasmine's hands trembled slightly, her nervousness apparent. Richard offered a calming smile. Don't be nervous, he said. You're doing just fine. Jasmine looked up at him, blushing. Thank you, she murmured. As they danced, Richard noticed how her flushed cheeks reminded him of a ripe plum. Now, years later, in her room, Richard found himself speechless. Jasmine stood close, eyes locked on his. If we sleep together, she said softly, I think I'll be able to forget you completely. She pulled him toward her. He could still see the shy girl from the ballroom in her eyes. Has she really changed this much? He wondered, tense. Jasmine, he said, gently brushing her cheek. If we go any further, you may regret it. We can stop here. Just say the word, and I'll leave. But she didn't waver. I like you, she said, surprising him. Then she leaned in and kissed him. When their lips parted, he whispered, Damn it, before kissing her again. Am I really doing this? He thought. All she said was that she liked me. In that moment, emotion took over. Their tension gave way to closeness, and passion unfolded. Later, breathless and still holding his head, Richard murmured, I feel like I'm losing my mind. That night, their feelings finally came to the surface, changing everything between them. The next morning, Jasmine froze as Richard stood between her and the door, his hand resting against it, blocking her path. Their eyes met. Where do you think you're going, Jasmine? He asked calmly, though his tone carried a firmness she couldn't ignore. She didn't respond. Her eyes lowered to his neck, where faint bite marks and scratches were visible, marks she had left the night before. Her face turned crimson. Did I do that? She whispered in disbelief. Have I lost my mind? She silently scolded herself. She remained still, flustered and unsure. Her heart pounded in her chest. Richard gently cupped her face, examining her flushed cheeks. Jasmine, are you feeling all right? He asked, more softly this time. Your face is very red. Caught off guard, she quickly turned away, her hand covering her cheek. I'm fine, she replied hurriedly. He watched her carefully, his gaze uncertain. He really caught me off guard, she thought, still avoiding his eyes. I'm glad, he said at last. I was starting to worry. Her eyes flicked up to his. Why were you worried? He took her hand gently, leaning in just a little. Because I think I was too rough last night, he murmured, then kissed her softly, catching her by surprise. Their hands remained clasped. Jasmine quickly pushed him away, startled. Her expression was conflicted. She hadn't expected him to act this way. A small cut appeared on his lip from the sudden shove, and he touched it absently. You surprised me, she said quietly. But how did things even end up like that? Richard's gaze remained steady. Don't tell me you don't remember. Jasmine gave a stiff smile. Well, she stammered. He narrowed his eyes slightly. Your expression says otherwise. You told me you liked me. Was that a lie? Her pride flared. Who said something so ridiculous? She snapped, her cheeks burning. Richard gave a faint smile. I know you better than that, Jasmine, he said, moving closer again, one hand resting beside her, boxing her in gently. Her heart began to race. Why is he getting so close, she wondered, her breath catching. Either you don't remember, he said slowly, or you're pretending not to. He reached toward the strap of her dress, but she shifted, avoiding his gaze. It's neither, she said quickly. I think I was just emotional, and I'd had too much to drink. Richard nodded. It was the same for me. I wasn't acting like myself. Jasmine remained quiet, staring at him. There was something odd about his demeanor. He didn't seem flustered. He wasn't avoiding her gaze. He looked calm, even as he took her hand again, gently lacing their fingers together. That's strange, she thought. Why doesn't he look like someone who regrets what happened? Jasmine's cheeks were flushed, but she remained silent. Richard gently raised her hand and kissed it. Is it because we slept together? She wondered as she reached out and touched his face. Even if I'm a little embarrassed, Richard doesn't make me uncomfortable. He kissed her hand again, and she flinched slightly. Then, unexpectedly, he kissed her once more, softly, catching her off guard, but she soon relaxed, drawn into the moment. He lifted her gently into his arms as they continued to kiss. This moment, and this man. They make me happy, she thought as she leaned into him. Richard laid her down on the bed, their eyes locked. Her face was flushed, her expression calm. Why does he look at me like that, she wondered. So deeply, so passionately, like he actually loves me. Am I just imagining it? From their shy first meeting to last night's raw honesty, Jasmine had never hidden her feelings from Richard. She had always been herself, unguarded, even vulnerable. Richard, too, was lost in thought. She's still showing me every part of herself, he realized. I've met others who followed their desires, but Jasmine, why does she feel different? What is it about her that I find so lovable? The next morning, Jasmine stirred, still curled up beside him. How could you do that in broad daylight? She mumbled, cheeks warm. Richard gave her a small grin. Well, you acted like you didn't know who you'd slept with last night, he teased. What about now? She looked up, startled, then quickly buried her face in his chest. Oh, no, I was joking, she said, flustered. Her body tensed as she tried to hide her embarrassment. He kissed her forehead gently. Richard, joking? She thought, surprised. He feels like a completely different person now. Were you always like this? She asked shyly. What do you mean? He asked, brushing her hair back. You're acting so different after we slept together, she said softly, her face still red. Well, how would I know? He replied gently. You've changed, she said, sitting up abruptly and holding the sheets close. Not just a little, a lot. He sat up with her and smiled. Then let's say it's true, because you're the one saying it. He reached out and rubbed her cheek softly. Why is he being so kind to me? She wondered, feeling her heart stir. You make me happy, and I want to understand you more. She looked at him quietly, her eyes full of warmth. So let me have the version of you no one else sees, she thought, pressing her face gently into his palm, holding his hand close. The moment felt surreal, too delicate to grasp, too tender to question. How strange, Jasmine murmured. Richard glanced at her, a flicker of curiosity in his eyes. What is? She hesitated, her voice barely above a whisper. I was just wondering how we ended up like this, she said, holding his thumb gently. A faint, amused smile tugged at his lips. Let's just say, I'm not strong enough to resist the advances of a bold Jasmine, he said, lifting her hand and kissing it softly. His eyes softened. And maybe I'm a little shameless, too. I've never done this before, he added, letting go of her hand and rubbing the back of his head, a hint of self-consciousness in his voice. That last part caught her off guard. A quiet ache stirred in her chest. Then, do you regret it? She asked, barely audible. His answer came without hesitation. What are you talking about? Of course not. Really? She asked, almost uncertain. He looked away briefly, his voice softer now. I just wish I had been more considerate. It felt like I lost control, like I was only thinking of myself, he said, brushing her cheek gently. His honesty pierced through her guarded thoughts. She sat up slightly, drawing the sheet closer around her. Was Richard always this kind? This thoughtful? His gentleness didn't feel real. It felt like a dream. I'm sorry, if I gave you the wrong idea, he said, lifting her effortlessly onto his lap. Jasmine? Why is he so handsome? She screamed internally, then shook her head. Never mind, I'm fine. I'm just excited and confused, she admitted. You probably don't understand what it's like to have a crush on someone for so long. Then, as if triggered by a distant memory, she recalled something. The words of Crown Princess Jillian echoed in her mind. I know your feelings for Lily are genuine, she had said to Richard. Her expression shifted. Lily, she muttered aloud. That's right, Lily. She's engaged now. But does he still have feelings for her? Jasmine wondered, her smile fading as doubt crept in. The question pressed at her, and finally she spoke. Richard, do you? He tilted his head. Do I? But then his expression changed. He noticed the sudden paleness in her face. Jasmine, are you okay? You've gone pale. Was I too rough last night? Or do you regret sleeping with me? Her eyes widened. Huh? Did you not enjoy it? Was it too sudden? No, not at all, she blurted out, sitting up straight. If anyone has something to regret, it's you. Her cheeks turned a deep shade of red as she continued. It was much better than I ever imagined. Pussy, I feel like my whole world's been flipped upside down. It'll take time for me to process all this. And now that we did it again, I think I've completely lost my mind. He smiled at her sudden outburst. Oh no, she thought, realizing how much she'd said. Then unexpectedly, Richard laughed. Not a chuckle, a genuine, hearty laugh that echoed in the quiet room. She froze. I've never seen him laugh like that. I never thought he could look at me this way. As his laughter faded, Jasmine felt herself relax. Maybe he really isn't with Lily. And even if he was, I have the right to feel what I feel. I don't need to feel guilty. She traced patterns on the sheet with her finger. It might not have happened in the most romantic or proper way, but I don't regret it. Not for a second. Even if I could go back in time, I'd still choose to be with him. Her cheeks flushed again. You did say you liked it, right? She asked softly. He grinned and pulled her closer. Jasmine, you're so, he teased. So what? She stammered. He leaned in, brushing her hair gently from her cheek. Adorable. I've never met anyone so brave and dazzling. I wonder where you hide all that courage in such a small frame. Are you trying to embarrass me? She asked, her face burning. Not at all, he said, smiling. I mean it. She turned away, flustered. What is he doing? Don't seduce me like this. Then his expression turned more serious. To be honest, that's why it feels like a waste. For someone like you to have feelings for someone like me. Her heart sank. Oh, I see. The words stung more than she expected. Why would he say that? I know he means well, but still. Sensing the tin, his tone shifted back to something lighter. Shall we bathe together? He asked playfully. I'll help you wash up. Jasmine blinked in surprise, then smiled. Sure, I'd like that. As they rose from the bed, Jasmine took a deep breath and let her thoughts settle. Don't overthink, just enjoy the moment. And with that, she followed him. Her heart still uncertain, but undeniably full. Thank you so much for watching this recap. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more manhwa summaries and updates.